Hello, lovelies! Summer entertaining season is just about here, which also means it's potato salad season. And while the traditional mayo-laden potato salad is delicious, today I want to show you 3 brand new ways to breathe new life into this classic dish. Starting with this bacon cheddar ranch potato salad that is sure to be a total crowd pleaser. Now, for this recipe, I'm going to start by mixing up a ranch dressing. You always have the option, of course, to use a store-bought ranch dressing in this recipe, but once you see how easy it is to make and how delicious the results are, I think you will agree it is totally worth making yourself. I'm getting started with some sour cream in a bowl. If you don't have sour cream, you could also use some plain yogurt here. That would work really well. To that, I'm adding a good splash of apple cider vinegar, and then I'm going to load in all of the ranch flavor. I'm starting with some garlic powder, I've got some onion powder, and then in this case, instead of using dried herbs, which are very traditional in a ranch dressing, I'm actually using fresh herbs here because I believe that come spring and summer, you should be using as many fresh herbs as you possibly can. So I'm adding a combination of chives and some dill, as well as a whole lot of parsley. If you're looking for great ways to get the most out of your fresh herbs, I highly recommend you watch my video on fresh herb hacks that I posted last year. I'll link it in the description box below. If you can't find fresh herbs, that's also totally fine. You can use dried herbs instead and just half everything in the recipe. At this point, we can just whisk in a little bit of milk or cream until we get a nice creamy consistency for our dressing. I'm going to add some salt and pepper to this, of course. We'll give it all a good stir, and then I'll just set it aside while I get to assembling my potato salad. Now for this salad, I used some baby potatoes. I just cut them in half and then steamed them until they were nice and tender. You can really use any kind of potatoes you want in this recipe. They'll all work. Once your potatoes are nice and cool, you can go ahead and add a whole heaping helping of shredded cheddar cheese and some cooked chopped bacon. I'm going to set a little bit of my bacon aside to garnish with, and then we are going in with this unbelievably yummy, creamy ranch dressing. If you're looking for a truly mouth-watering potato salad, this creamy bacon cheddar ranch is sure to grant your wish. Of course, a salad like this I think is always best served straight out of the fridge, so it's nice and cool and refreshing. Trust me, your guests are going to be back for seconds and thirds, so make sure you make a nice big batch of this. Now for something slightly more sophisticated, we are making a classic fresh potato salad. Now the idea of a fresh potato salad is that instead of a creamy dressing that's more traditional, we are using a vinaigrette. So we'll get started by mixing up this classic French vinaigrette that I love. It all starts with some olive oil in my bowl. To that, I'm adding some white wine vinegar. If you have champagne vinegar, that makes this dressing even better, so go ahead and use that instead. As with any classic French dressing, we are also going to add a good helping of Dijon mustard because that's the glue that holds everything together. I've got some minced shallot here, and I've also got 1 clove of garlic that I'm just going to grate into my dressing. I'll hit this with some salt and pepper, give it all a good whisk, and then set it aside while I get assembling my salad. In this recipe, once again, I used baby potatoes, but this time they're red skin potatoes. I steamed them until they were tender, and now that they're completely cool, I'm just going to add in a whole lot of tastiness. Now, because this is a French-inspired potato salad, we are using one of my favorite French ingredients, les cornichons, or mini pickles. I love pickles. I really do. To that, I'm also going to add some chopped green onion and some fresh tarragon. Tarragon is a classic French herb. It has such great flavor, and you definitely want to use fresh here if you can. I'm also going to add a little hit of fresh parsley, and then I will pour over my dressing, give this a toss, and oh my gosh, I wish you could smell it in here, guys. It smells incredible. I actually enjoy this salad with breakfast. I'll serve it with a few soft-boiled eggs, and it is just to die for. And let's be honest, it's full of pickles. But you know it can't be bad. This salad is actually my new favorite thing right now. Finally, guys, for something a little bit different, we are going to be making a roasted potato salad. So in this case, instead of boiling our potatoes or steaming them, we're actually going to roast them in the oven with all sorts of tastiness. First up, we'll start by creating a really flavorful dressing that we'll toss our potatoes in before we get them roasting. I'm starting with some olive oil in my bowl. To that, I'm going to add a little apple cider vinegar. Then I'm gonna add some spice. So I've got some paprika headed into my bowl. I've got some garlic powder, and I've got some cumin. So this is gonna have a lot of great flavor. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. I'll give this a whisk and set it aside while I prepare my veggies for roasting. I'm going to start with my red skin potatoes. I washed them really well and gave them a quick chop, and I'm just going to lay them out on a parchment-lined baking sheet. To that, I'm also going to add some red bell pepper. I've cut it into nice big chunks, and I'm going to mix that in with the potato. And then I'm also going to add to my pan 2 ears of corn. Now, of course, you always have the option to use canned corn or frozen corn, but this time of year, why wouldn't you buy fresh corn on the cob? And we're gonna roast these up with our potatoes. It's gonna be glorious. We were really trying to cobble together some corny jokes here, guys, but we totally failed. So if you have any you'd like to share, be sure to leave those in the comments. Once everything is nice and coated, we'll get these into the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for, let's say, 20 to 25 minutes. At that point, we'll take everything out, give it one more good toss, and get it back in the oven for another 20 minutes or so. Guys, things are looking real exciting. You wanna make sure that your potatoes are nice and tender on the inside, but they've developed a nice crispiness on the outside. We are basically all set here. I'm just gonna cut the corn off of these beautiful cobs. Then I'm going to transfer my potatoes and my red bell pepper to a mixing bowl, add my corn into the bowl, and then it's time to add a whole lot of green. I've got some green onion headed in here with a little bit of freshly chopped cilantro and some finely chopped jalapeno. Of course, the jalapeno is always optional, but also always delicious. Just make sure you mince it really finely. To add just a bit of tartness and freshness to this salad, I'm going to squeeze in the juice of 1 lime, hit it with some salt and pepper, and give it all a good toss. I like serving this salad immediately if possible. That's when you get the absolute best flavor from it. Trust me, guys, I know roasted potato salad sounds a little strange, but let me tell you, this was a massive hit with our entire team. So we all recommend you give it a try. I hope you'll give all 3 of these tasty potato salad ideas a try, and if you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Snapchat me a photo, because I always love seeing your kitchen creations. Keep in mind the full recipes are in the description box below, so you can take a look for them there. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.